Well. We have reviews of the Batman out now, and I want to go ahead and check out the IGN review for the Batman. So let's go ahead and get into it, and let's see what people are starting to say about Batman, the Batman. Can't wait. Let's get into it. All right, here we go.
Fear is a tool, Bruce Wayne tells us in a gloomy voiceover early in the Batman. While he's talking about using the presence of the Batman to intimidate bad guys, it's also possible writer-director Matt Reeves took this to heart for his approach to rebooting the famous superhero. This is the scariest Batman yet. Right from the violent opening scene, the message is clear. This is not your mother's Caped Crusader. This is a creeping, angry, white-knuckle-inducing psychological thriller with a heavy dose of crime noir. And believe it or not, Reeves absolutely pulls it off, achieving a grimly beautiful masterpiece.
Oh, man. Good to hear.
The Batman stands on its own, but it's still dripping with cinematic references. Among the movies I thought about while watching, Zodiac, Seven, Chinatown, and
That's
Saw.
what I think of,
you know
Seven,
what I
when I
didn't
see the
think too much
previews.
about most of the previous live-action Batman movies. Its gritty realism is most similar to Christopher Nolan's trilogy, as well as 2019's Joker, but this is a refreshingly bold new cinematic take on The Dark Knight. That said, it's still very much a Batman tale in a surprisingly loyal way. It pulls from and remixes various storylines from the comics in daring yet respectful fashion, all while being very different from what's been on the big screen up to this point. On that note, Robert Pattinson is playing a much more vulnerable, human version of the orphan billionaire than we've seen before. Gone is the convincing illusion of a charismatic playboy we've seen in past iterations. Here, we get a sad weirdo who's both crippled and compelled by his unresolved trauma in a way that's gripping to watch. Pattinson's performance is crushingly painful, whether he's in or out of the Batsuit.
I'm vengeance.
He meets his match with Zoe Kravitz's beautifully layered performance of Selina Kyle / Catwoman.
You got a lot of cats.
I have a thing about strays.
She's got all the slinkiness and slyness you could hope for, but like Bruce, she's also incredibly vulnerable, while simmering with the need for revenge. Plus, she and Pattinson have undeniable chemistry. Whether they're trading fists or information, it's all very hot. As for the central antagonist, Paul Dano steps into the shoes of the Riddler, giving us easily the best live-action Batman villain since Heath Ledger's Joker.
I've been trying to reach you.
Reeves puts a modern, murderous spin on the wordsmith that's heavily inspired by the real-life Zodiac Killer.
This is what reminds me of Seven.
Terrifying realism. Seriously, he managed to give me chills with a single eye movement in one scene. Whenever Pattinson and Dano face off, it's impossible to look away. Colin Farrell and Jeffrey Wright, meanwhile, are responsible for some very welcome moments of levity as the Penguin and Jim Gordon. Farrell seems to be having fun under all those prosthetics, and Wright has a nice buddy cop dynamic with Pattinson, lending to some of the best campy, in a good way, detective noir moments. If that seems like a lot to stuff into one movie, well, the Batman does clock in at a hefty 3 hours, so it has the time. That bladder-testing runtime is mostly earned, though. If I ever felt like the political mystery at its center wasn't keeping me glued, the story and the action would quickly rev up again, yanking me back like one of the Bat's grappling hooks. The last hour makes all that build-up worth it, with a few big, beautiful, brilliantly choreographed action sequences. This movie's grounded take ups the stakes in the fight scenes, and when Batman throws or takes a punch, it hurts. Plus, the cityscape in which it all takes place is darkly gorgeous. Cinematographer Greg Fraser bathes Gotham in a palette of black and red, and his smart contrast of saturation and darkness keeps it from being monotonous. Instead, he keeps us gripped in a Gotham that mirrors other major US cities in many ways, but is still entirely its own. Michael Giacchino's sweeping, dramatic score brings it all together, creating a few epic moments worthy of one of comic books' most famous characters. The Batman is a gripping, gorgeous, and at times, genuinely scary psychological crime thriller that gives Bruce Wayne the grounded detective story he deserves. Robert Pattinson is great as a very broken Batman, but it's Zoe Kravitz and Paul Dano who steal the show, with a movingly layered Selina Kyle and a terrifyingly unhinged Riddler. Writer-director Matt Reeves managed to make a Batman movie that's entirely different from the others in the live-action canon, yet surprisingly loyal to Gotham lore as a whole. Ultimately, it's one that thoroughly earns its place in this iconic character's legacy. For more DC reviews, check out what we thought of Peacemaker Season 1 and Catwoman Hunted.
Man.
And for everything else, stick with IGN.
Peacemaker, great show, by the way. Peacemaker, fantastic show. One of the best shows I've seen in a while. Yeah. All right, there we go. Early reviews of the Batman. Looking really good. Looking really good. I'm so jealous, man. I'm so jealous. I want to see this movie. I want to see it so bad. I love the fact that they're going back to the whole gritty, dark, noir detective story of Batman, because at heart, as we know, Batman is a detective comic, right? So, fantastic. And they're doing justice to these characters. The Riddler is going to be, looks like he's going to be amazing, unlike the joke of a character that he was played by Jim Carrey.
This is your brain on the box. This is my brain on the box. Does anybody else feel like a fried egg?
Just goofy joke ridiculousness. This looks fantastic. And I'm so happy that it's being done right. 3-hour movie. 3-hour movie. Sometimes in a story like this, I think they're starting to realize it. Look, when you're going to make a movie that this complicated, you need to put in the time. It's whenever they cut out a lot of things to bring it down to 2 hours that it makes the movie not feel like it makes sense. It doesn't flow right. I mean, we've seen that, right, with the Zack Snyder cut. So it worked better when it was the full movie, the full realization that it was supposed to be. So yeah, 3 hours on a really good movie that this should be, that it looks like it's going to be, will flow by and not feel that long. So can't wait, cannot wait. I love that the reviews are coming back. The whole time I've watched the previews of this, the trailers, I've been feeling like this feels like Seven. Like it's got like a Seven feel. The movie Seven, like that dark detective work, trying to figure out the riddles, right? So, yeah, I can't wait. This looks great. It looks absolutely fantastic. I'm so happy to hear a review like this, and yeah, can't wait. Anyways, let me know what you thought of this review of the Batman. Are you even more stoked like me to go see it? Let me know, man. Give the video a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you next time. I'm Chewy Solo, and this is Black and Red. See ya.
Woo! Now that is a whole lot of fun right there.